Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to watch KBC Channel 1, the home of the Great Debaters Contest, the best debates in the country. This is the Great Debaters Contest Season 8, Kakamega region. I am your host, Chris Buru.
And I am Nasimiyu Kapanga. The motion on the table today is, should refugees be integrated as equal citizens in their host countries?
Proposing this motion, making their debut on the Great Debaters Contest, we have St. Teresa Eregi Girls.
And opposing this motion, we have St. Anne's Musoli Girls High School. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
From St. Teresa's Eregi Girls, I am Doti Dion, and I would like to strongly propose the motion that states that refugees should be integrated as equal citizens of their host countries. According to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees website, www.unhcr.org, it clearly states that refugees are people that are outside their country and have a well-founded fear of persecution because of religion and membership of a particular social group, or fleeing because of conflicts in his or her own country. I believe that these refugees are not dangerous people, but have fled their countries because of the dangerous places. Integration is the act of bringing people together of different demographic, social, and racial groups. A host country is a country which refugees run to and are resettled into. In Worcestershire's book, Teaching My Mother How to Give Birth, he clearly states that no one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. Ladies and gentlemen, integration improves the economic development, which is in line with the SDG goals. Goal number 8, decent and economic growth, and goal number 10, reduced inequalities. It is also in line with Brands Kenya's national values, non-discrimination and protection of the marginalized groups. In April 2016, the European Union Parliament adopted to integrate refugees by offering them accommodation, professional training, language courses, and intercultural dialogue. In July 2016, they assisted these refugees to be integrated in the labor market, where they help teachers and professionals to get jobs. And I'd like you to note that this led to a 10% literacy levels in US. Ladies and gentlemen, these people are not just refugees. They are human beings with dreams, goals, aspirations, and ambitions in life. Behind every refugee, there is a name, there is a story, and a person. Every person in life deserves a dignified life in an equal society, defined not by their status, but skills, stories, and successes. They may have changed their countries or unable to go back to their countries for fear of persecution or war and cries, but they are still people. I rest my case. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes to present your case.
Oh, kuna watu wasiopenda maendeleo. Achana nao, aepuke haraka sana. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Eunice Hayala Shivina from St. Anne's Musoli Girls, strongly opposing the motion that states refugees should be integrated as equal citizens of their host countries. To begin with, who are refugees? These are people who flee from their countries to other countries because they avoid being caught, according to the Oxford 8th edition dictionary. What is integration? Integration is the sharing or the harmonious living with people from a different group and sharing their natural resources without any discrimination or segregation. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a question for you. Who said there's change in refuge? And who said there's refuge in change? Ladies and gentlemen, why should you get away from your country to go to a place where you don't know how you'll be welcome? Why should you leave a place where you are comfortable in and go to a place where you'll have to start adapting to it?
I strongly oppose this motion. Why? To begin with my first point, the highest refugee concentration is in some of the developing countries. Take Nepal, a district in Japa, for example. 90,000 of the refugees represent over 13% of the local population. Ladies and gentlemen, this will obviously bring a division in the natural resources that were previously availed for the local consumption of the citizens of that country. When refugees will come into your country, ladies and gentlemen, there's no way you're going to tell me that you'll have to sit back and look at them and let them come up with their own ways to make their lives possible and comfortable in that country. You'll obviously have to allocate your previously allocated natural resources to them so that they can be free and also feel they're accepted in that country. And let me ask you a question. Who said that you, who had previously known that this is my allocated resource, who are you to allow it to be divided into another person? Consumption. Ladies and gentlemen, in the United Republic of Tanzania, it states that the recent refugees, or rather fugitives, influxes meant that the local population was outnumbered by a ratio of approximately 4-1. You can imagine, 4-1, which means there were almost, some of the refugees who were there were almost 700,000 among the local population of 186,000 of those people in Gara. A question to you. Think about it. It's better the devil you know than the angel you do not know. They'll obviously bring in insecurity. Let's say they're from the same ethnic group. They'll bring it insecurity. And people, let us start with our interior secretary of the security, Mr. Matiang'i. Last month, he said that those people in Dadaab are bringing about uncomfort among us because some of them are coming up with other ways that they're coming in. Most of them are leading to prostitution. The young idlers for the men, they'll come in with theft, they'll come in with all these different vices that we are strongly opposing in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, I will strongly oppose and I will stand on my side that refugees should not be integrated as equal citizens of our host countries. Thank you.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
First, I would like to let my opposers know that an immigrant is the one escaping from capture. Then, a refugee does not flee because the home is conducive. Because he or she flee because of the hostile environment. Another thing, you've also stated that a refugee, once we integrate them in our country, they will depend on us. No. Once we integrate them, they will be independent. They will have that quality as a common mwananchi, hence will lead to them being independent. Ladies and gentlemen, why should we scramble everywhere like rats, without honor, without dignity? This is the cry of many refugees as they live in their camps. Zubeda Mastula is strongly proposing the motion. Refugees should be integrated as equal citizens of their host countries. Ask me why. If we integrate these refugees as equal citizens of their host countries, we will eradicate poverty. This brings me to SDG goal number 1, no poverty. According to www.unhcr.org, in 1950, UNHCR spent $300,000 to fund the refugees. And by 2017, the figures had risen up to 7.7 billion. You can do the math and find the percentage increment. Putting in mind that not only member countries contribute this money, assuming that the host country contributes the 7.7 billion, how many kilometers of roads can we construct? How many health facilities can we construct? And how many schools can we build using that 7.7 billion? If we integrate the refugees as equal citizens of the host countries, they will contribute to the growth of local economy. Recently, UNHCR kicked off World Refugee Day activities with a week-long exhibition in Nairobi. This was showcasing and selling products like jewelry, African wear, carvings, and creative handicrafts. This clearly depicts efforts of refugees to be self-sufficient by earning a livelihood from the skills and talents. In addition, a draft MOU between UNHCR and the Chamber of Commerce is being discussed regarding partnership of working together on how they can support refugee businesses to ensure that they benefit fully and live comfortable lives. This is in line with SDG goal number 17, partnership for the goals. If we integrate these refugees as equal citizens of our country, we will have given them respect and dignity. This is in accordance with Chapter 4 of our Constitution, Sub-Article 28, which states that every person has inherent dignity and the right to have the dignity respected and protected. Anne Frank clearly said, no one has ever become poor by giving. So kindly, let's respect them. Let's give them the dignity that they deserve. I stand to that. Thanks.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
I am thankful for those who said no to me. Because of them, I did it myself, said Albert Einstein. I, Veronica Lumayo, from St. Anne's Musoli Girls, oppose the motion that states refugees should be integrated as equal citizens of the host countries. Why should refugees scatter like rats all over, whereas they have their own homes to live in? Who do they expect to arrange their home for them if it's not them themselves? That's a question for you. My opponents have said the refugees have left their homes due to the unconducive environment they have in their country. Yes, they have left because of the unconducive environment, but who do they expect to make the environment conducive for them? What are the impacts that the refugees bring about in our country? The impacts are worse, they are disadvantageous to the host country. The refugees have brought about the road deterioration in result to the delivery of food and other services to those places. For example, in Pakistan, over 2 million refugees have led to the acceleration of the tear and wear of the roads and canals, and a significant increase in consumption of the fuel. To add on it, the wood resources are further depleted by these refugees in Pakistan. Over 2 million refugees, they have tented the camps using the resources of the host country. The refugees have caused internal displacement of the people. For example, in Kakuma and Dadaab, people from the host country have to leave that place to leave space for the refugees. It is also approximately 80% of the world refugees were hosted in poor countries, 26% accommodated in the third world countries. For example, in Kenya, countries hosting the 4th largest number of refugees in the world. This is making our country be the third world instead of rising to a higher level than the third world countries. This makes me think that maybe, just maybe, these refugees deter our country from moving to a better state. The least developed countries will find a bigger task because their own citizens are also vulnerable. The host citizens also stare in wait for support to be beneficiaries of the government. Mandate to take care of them. The host countries have added burden to trying to cope with the demand. Thus goes my question: how are the government going to overcome this overpopulation in the country? How are they going to cope with the tension of the refugees coming into our country? I rest my case.
for the question session. The proposers have been asked to clearly state the advantages of integrating refugees into their host countries. The opposers, on the other hand, have been asked, in reference to their point where refugees will scramble for resources of the host countries, is it still disadvantageous if these same refugees are actually qualified professionals that might benefit our economy? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the question.
From St. Teresa's Eregi Girls, I'm Belinda Ching. Just to answer your question, when you integrate these refugees, the following will happen. There'll be poverty eradication. And this is in accordance to the SDG goal number 1, that is zero poverty. There'll also be economic development and economic growth. They'll promote growth of the economy in that they bring the skills to our country and also they impact our country and they also pay taxes. And then there'll be dignity. We'll be giving them dignity and respecting their rights. And this is in accordance with the brand Kenya's national values. I'd also like to tell you that even if these refugees are not here, prostitution still goes on. They're not the cause of prostitution. And if they come to these places, remember, they're put in one place. That is a camp that is set at the border point. So I don't believe that they're coming to this place will really bring prostitution to this place. Whether or not they're here, prostitution is still here with us. I'd also like to let you know that if we integrate these people, we'll be giving them a sense of belonging. In that, do you know that right now, as we sit in this hall, 10 million people are stateless? Just give me 2 seconds. That is 1, 2. Right now, in those 2 seconds, someone has been displaced. Do you know that if we integrate these people, we are making them feel loved. We are making them feel like they have a place to call home. They have somewhere they can lean on when they have a problem. And I believe that if we integrate them, we are making even them better individuals and we're also growing our country. There'll also be development of talents. I believe majority of us sitting in this hall have heard or know about Rita Ora. She's a renowned songwriter, actress, and also a writer. Rita Ora, if you don't know her story, she migrated from Kosovo and went to London due to ethnic clashes. As we speak right now, you can bear me witness. Rita Ora is selling a lot. And I believe in Dadaab and Kakuma camps, the camps where refugees are, is sitting a lot of undiscovered talent and potential. And I believe that if we integrate these people and make them part of us, this talent can be really used to develop our country and also to benefit them as individuals. You see, sports is really paying, music is paying. Rita Ora is a very live example. In sports, I believe that in Dadaab sit great footballers, sit great models, sit great singers, and they also sit great athletic men and women. I believe that if we integrate them, let them come to us. Let us bring the pride of our country a notch higher. Let them bring what they have from those camps. Instead of letting them sit there and wasting them, let them come, we share with them whatever we have. I also believe that the refugee is not your enemy. Your enemy is the one who made this person a refugee. So I believe if we integrate these people, we'll not be making enemies, we'll be making friends. Thank you.
To answer your question, you've said that these refugees, they might bring in talents, skills. Why don't they use these skills to help themselves, to better their countries? I hope your question is well answered. And to my opponents, you've said that these refugees, some of them are athletes, musicians. Please give us an example. And you've also contradicted yourself by saying that they are concentrated in camps. Integration simply means mixing freely. Go on and save yourself. Go on and be your own hero, as others are busy trying to save themselves. Overpopulation and dependency. According to internet sources, Google, highest refugees concentration are in some of the poorest countries in the world, Kenya being the 4th in number. 2.5 million refugees are hosted in Kenya yearly, according to Google. Low income. Hosting refugees leads to low income as high taxes are levied on government officials' income. Government officials, teachers, social workers, community workers, their incomes, taxes are levied on them, leading to low population rate, leading to low living standards. Competition. From the moment they enter the country till now, they compete with local citizens on resources, education, medical services, everything. Name them. They compete. Go to schools, go to hospitals. They are everywhere, and they are taken as first priority instead of us local citizens. Why should we sit back and watch as these refugees come and take control of our country? Why should we sit back and watch as they control everything? They're in our hospitals, in our schools, and we are being left as the local citizens. Prostitution, alcoholism, and many more. These negative influences, name them. Be it alcoholism, be it prostitution, crime rates are very high due to them because they are freely intermingling with us. They come with their negative influences, and we want to emulate them. We want to emulate their way of living, their way of dressing, and everything, thus leading to our profile picture being taken low. And according to a World Bank report, it indicates that we are not being compensated for helping these refugees. And in Yugoslavia, about over 400,000 refugees are being housed or sheltered and given food by the citizens of that republic. Take an instance. I am a refugee. I come to your house. Food, I depend on you. Clothing, I depend on you. Education, I depend on you. Medical services, I depend on you. A total stranger. Will you freely do that for me? Please think about that.
Proposers, you have 1 minute for final submission.
Ladies and gentlemen, imagine your life the way you know it. In a blink of an eye, it all just disappears because of wrangles, genocide, massacres, among other atrocities. And you find yourself in a refugee camp. How would you like to be treated in there? Would you like to beg for food, yet you have hands that can work? To die of dysentery, cholera, malaria, and typhoid, and yet you can access the better health facilities. Charles Dickens once said that no one is useless in this world who lightens the burden of another. My fellow citizens, let us lighten the burden of these people. And to my opposers, these people are not there because they want to. They have been forced to because of the circumstances. Thank you.
Proposers, you have 1 minute to make a final statement.
Our extinct ladies and gentlemen, a question she has stated, my opposer, that they're here because of the forced circumstances. Don't we have a role model? Don't we have someone of a sane mind in their countries who can stand up from the midst and say that what we are doing is wrong, and come up and say that what they are doing, political instability in their country, who can stand up in the midst and say that what is going on here is going to make us fall apart? Can she go and say that before it erupts? Can that person stand up in the midst? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think this thing is going to be forced. I don't think they are forced to come out of their countries. What they have in mind, don't they have the skills to fight the corruption? Don't they have the skills to fight the political instability in their country before moving to another country? Who said moving to another country will make you be comfortable? East or west, home is best. That will never change. And so, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we broke the fence and let the cattle to munch our crops. It munched so loudly that we assumed all was well. Today, we swear, never shall we let the cats in our cupboards drink the milk and eat our meat. Thank you.
For Eregi girls, Dottie, you did a good introduction. A very passionate speaker, and you seem to lay the ground so well for the other speakers. That was very good performance from you. Zubeida, you gave a very good rebuttal from the first opposer. The difference between a refugee and an immigrant. That was very good of you. For Belinda, if you had begun strong, you could have won for us the day. But you began somehow weak and not sure of yourself. but you come and give us very good examples of people like Rita Ora. I was waiting for you to give us more examples of refugees who've gone to countries and they've done something better than what they could have done in their host countries. Now, for Musoli girls, Eunice, very composed on stage, but you talked about refugees are people who run from their countries because they're avoiding being caught. You know, I think there are so many reasons why they leave their host countries. Why couldn't you have given us those reasons why they leave their host countries? But that was good presentation from you. Veronica, I expected you to come now and develop from what Eunice had said, and you come and tell us why do refugees leave their host countries. You didn't bring it out so well. For Chelsea, you didn't respond well to the question posed by the proposer, by one of the speakers, sorry. Also, at one time, you weren't sure of your rebuttal. You didn't seem to be sure of what you wanted to present. Otherwise, there's still a motion for us to debate and debate and debate, because we have to know, should we integrate them or should we leave them just partially? Thank you. May the best team take the day.
Refugees being integrated as equal citizens. This is a relevant motion to the Kenyan and African situation today. More mention of Dadaab and Kakuma and the situations on the ground would have helped push this agenda. Dion, you are a very good speaker with near perfect timing. You stopped just at the right time. Zubeda, you connected very well to the SDGs and the Constitution. I wish you'd hold our gaze more. At the beginning, you held our gaze, which was very good. But later on, went down to the paper a bit too much. Belinda, you were a bit reserved. I don't know why. You were a bit reserved, a bit sad, calm. You cooled the fire a bit. The fire that Dion lit, you cooled it just a bit. And the energy waned a little. St. Anne's, Eunice, that new style of song, that's all right. That's all right. It just needs for the song to be quite related to what's on the agenda. However, your timing was pretty poor. You added almost a minute to the time, to the 3 minutes. You almost spoke for 4, and that was penalized. Veronica, you told us information about Pakistan and about the number of refugees. How are refugees making Kenya not move to a better place from the third world state? So where did this information come from? Chelsea, same thing. 2.5 million refugees annually in Kenya, according to Google. That's too general. We need to be more specific as far as citations are concerned. And then there is the assumption that you made, Chelsea, that the refugees are already integrated into the Kenyan or other countries' societies. No, the motion is that refugees should be integrated. It's not already been done. So we are debating whether or not that should happen, right? So generally, the first speaker sets the pace for the team, which both teams did. And that ought to be maintained by the second and third speakers, respectively. And this time it waned a little, which affected the eventual outcome. Thank you.
And now we have come to the moment that we've all been waiting for the marks. St. Teresa Eregi Girls High School, the judges saw it fit to award you 68.7%. Let's give them a round of applause. St. Anne Musoli Girls High School, you earned yourself 66.1%. A round of applause for them. Congratulations to St. Teresa Eregi girls for winning this debate, but to St. Anne Musoli girls, do remember that it's not in whether you win or lose, it's in how you play the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, the debate might be over, but remember the conversation still continues across our social media platforms with the hashtag GDC for SDGs. We'd like to appreciate each and every person who's been able to make this show a reality, from our principals to our patrons in each and every school.
We also would like to encourage the schools to implement at least one sustainable development goal and take part in our SDG challenge. That's it at the Great Debaters Contest. I have been your host, Nasimiyu Kapanga.
And until the next episode, I am Chris Buru. Stay tuned.